recording this a few hours after Rutgers lost its third straight game on Saturday, falling to Ohio State on the road 80-66 in easily the most disappointing performance of the season so far. For many reasons, obviously losing to Kennesaw State was not ideal, but the way in which the team played in the second half was encouraging, and I thought integral in terms of a shift in how the offense needed to run. There was really no positives in this game, and that was very disappointing. And honestly, coming off a week off after I thought some inspired play in Vegas, despite the losses to Alabama and Texas A&M. Those are two ranked teams. Alabama is, national title contender. A&M is a very tough team, very physical, very athletic. And Rutgers had a chance to win both those games in the final minute of those games. They were within one possession. They ended up losing by 2 possessions in both games. So you have a week off. You start Big Ten play, first road game, and this team did not show up in a way in which you need to be competitive on the road. And that was the thing. That's the most disappointing and concerning thing, is they had a week off and they looked more disjointed than they did in Vegas. In Vegas, they were more connected than not. On the floor in Columbus, where Rutgers has never won, they were totally disjointed. They were not a connected basketball team at all. They couldn't defend. They couldn't stop penetration. They couldn't defend the rim. Ohio State shot 65% from 2. 65%, 26 of 40. They had a 46-18 advantage in points in the paint. That's brutal. I mean, that's just no heart on defense at all. I mean, they held them in check from 3, 6 of 18, 33%. That's fine. Kept them, they really didn't get to the line too much. 10 of 13 for Ohio State. They're not a great free throw shooting team, but they shot 55% from the floor simply because they shot 65% from 2. And, Bruce Thornton and Royal, the big man, I mean, they were the best 2 players in the court. And when Ace and Dillon, they really didn't have a lot of answers for them. Bruce Thornton, smaller guard, but, he really just controlled the game, had full command of their team, and set the tone early, was very efficient early. Harper was on him early. Durkak was on him more in the second half. But they really didn't have much of an answer for him. And then Royal in the second half just went off. What was his second half numbers? He had 16 points in the second half, 6 to 9 from the floor, 6 points in 17 minutes. Just no answer for him. And he had, I believe, was it 2 early fouls? He had no fouls in that second half. Yeah, he had 2 fouls in the first half. And Rutgers didn't go at him. And I think that's where there's a lot of issues here. And Ace Bailey is as talented of a prospect as there is. But I just felt in this game in particular, and shot selection has been questionable. I talked about it in the preseason. You knew shot selection was going to be questionable at times for Ace Bailey. But the consistency in which the shot selection is so difficult and not really within the flow of the offense. There's a lot of just wait for the ball, catch the ball, dribble the ball, take a shot. And I thought it was a huge strategic miss not to go at Royal, especially with Bailey. We've seen now 2 games in a row. Teams are doubling Harper when he crosses half court, right? They're trying to prevent him from driving, getting into the rim off the bounce where he's so effective. He was able to a little bit more in the second half, and we'll get to him in a minute. But that's where Ace has to attack. He's got to attack the rim more. Aaron Bradshaw, the 7-footer, remember him? Ohio State, he's out, right? They're not particularly big inside. Royal has 2 fouls. You have to attack him. And Ace Bailey is so athletic. And when you just settle for contested 18-footers all the time, you were increasing the degree of difficulty on your own, and you were making it easier for the offense or for the defense. And Rutgers got no transition baskets. I mean, they had 2 points on transition. This team's identity is they have no identity. Defensively, I really thought this team was going to pressure more. I mean, overall, but particularly in this game, no real forecourt pressure, no trapping in the half court, really. They had a key size advantage with their guards on the perimeter. Obviously, Ohio State's smaller, quicker, but it was like, it just feels like this team, in particular in this game, showed up, was on the court, was there to play basketball. But there wasn't a lot of strategic thinking into how they were playing basketball. And it's an indictment of Peichel and the staff in the sense where there was a game plan. And this team, there's no way this team came close to executing a game plan. And it's not just the porous defense. It's the lack of cohesion on offense that, honestly, there's so much talent on offense. And I think defense is intentional, right? You know that you have some issues on defense. So they did play a little zone. I don't think they're a good zone defense team. I think the best approach, personally, for this team is you need to get your talent in position for high percentage looks, right? And on defense, they're not creating enough turnovers. They're not creating enough opportunities to run in transition. And they're getting caught in these half-court sets. And if Dylan can't drive and Ace can't hit an 18-footer turning away from the basket, their offensive identity, there really isn't much more there. And I think it's definitely on the coaching staff that there isn't a priority to emphasize their shooters, to run sets for their shooters. Once again, Hayes and Martini, really no impact at all. Hayes, 4 minutes, no shots, no stat line. Zach played 9 minutes, hit a three, 1 and 2 from three, and then had 3 fouls. So in 13 minutes, you got a 1 and 2 from three. They're by far your 2 best 3-point shooters. Acuff was 1 and 2 from three at 2 free throws, 5 points. I thought he looked a little bit better. He played 10 minutes. So those are your probably 3 best shooters, right? Outside of Ace and Dylan, depending on what they're doing. And they only played 23 minutes combined. Now, I get it. PJ, Zach, they're struggling defensively. But guess what? The entire team is struggling defensively. You gave up 80 points to Ohio State. You give 6%, 5%. So I think there's a real struggle here on what are they trying to do? Are they trying to win 68-66? Or maybe does there need to be an acceptance that the defense isn't where it needs to be, but this team needs to be free-flowing offensively? And I think there's not enough dimension to the offensive plan right now. At least that's what it looked like on Saturday. And Emmanuel Bole, listen, he's getting better. He had 10 points, 4 or 5 from the floor, 5 rebounds. He had 2 assists, just a turnover. But he's not a rim defender. He's no blocks. His what's his block rate now? I don't think it's very good. It's point 0.8. That's non-existent. I mean, Somerville at least has a 5.8 block rate, 159th nationally. Bailey's got a 2.3 block rate. This is not average. This is percentage of rate. Jeremiah Williams, 1.1. Dylan, 1. Igbole, 0.8. So, although he's scoring efficiently offensively, it doesn't bring the same value that you get from other guys because he's not giving you anything defensively. And you need 3-point shooters to make three-point shots. Now, they shot fine from 3 today. They were 7 of 19, 36.8%. Dylan was 3 of 7. Durkak made both of his. Credit to him. Tyson was 1 of 2. Zach was 1 of 2. But you're making threes in this game. You're not shooting enough of them. They were just 5 of 14 at the rim on dunks and layups. And they were overall 6 of 10 from the field. 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 6 of 10 from the fi shot 42% for the game from the floor overall. So when you take away 5 of 14, 7 of 19, so about 12 of 31, there were 12 of 26 for mid-range. Just too many mid-range shots. You need to shoot more threes, and you need to prioritize your three-point shooters. And that wasn't there in this game. Jeremiah Williams really struggled. He couldn't get in the lane. I mean, Ohio State, they executed the game plan. They kept Jeremiah out of the lane. They made it harder on Dylan Harper, and they allowed Ace Bailey to shoot really hard shots. Ace was 6 of 16 from the floor. Credit to him. Listen, he's rebounding defensively better. 7 rebounds overall, 5 on the defensive end, 2 on the offensive end. He had an assist, but he did have 4 turnovers, did have a block, 33 minutes. Dylan played 38 minutes, 6 of 13 from the floor, 3 of 7 for 3, 3 of 3 from the line, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, did have 3 turnovers and 2 steals. 18 points, led the team. But again, cohesion offensively as a team, they don't have it. And there isn't urgency. We talk about inexperience. They're highly skilled players, right? But as a team, there isn't that. You didn't see that passion in this game. You didn't see urgency when they started to fall behind. They made a quick comeback early in the second half. Credit to Ace, he got hot there, but it almost created that monster where when he gets hot, he doesn't. He continues to feed that difficult shot mentality. And again, I think where this team looked like they were today, they looked much farther away than where they looked. Last week, they looked like an NCAA tournament team. Today, they didn't. And now you've lost 3 in a row. They're all quad 1 losses. They're all away from the rack. This is not fatal. But this loss today was discouraging in the way in which they didn't bring it nearly enough to the degree they need to. And defensively, they're just completely out of whack. And you would have thought after a week off, defensively, they started to show some more progress. And it really was the opposite in this game. And listen, the book is out on Rutgers. I mean, if you let Ace feed into your plan of taking tough shots, you try to keep Dylan away from the rim, Jeremiah from the rim. What are they doing offensively to counter that? They didn't do anything today in this game. And now you have to rebound quick, 3 days. And you have the good news is you have another quad 1 opportunity and you're at home, but it's against a red hot Penn State team that just throttled Purdue at home the other night. They have good guards. Ace Baldwin, we know him. They've added some good transfers. It's going to be a very difficult game. And I think with Ace, his offensive game, he looks like he's trying to impress NBA scouts, not doing what is best strategically to give this team an edge to win. And I think that has to be a discussion internally, right? In terms of this team has to have better flow offensively. The ball's sticking, guys are not as engaged because of the emphasis, right? Again, Ace and Dylan, it's a lot of take his man off the ball. And there's just not a lot of ball reversals going on. Ohio State was really good at that today, getting penetration, kick out, ball reversal, open shots. Rutgers isn't doing that. They're one-dimensional offensively. By the way, Durkak, he had 8 points, 3 rebounds, steal. Like I said, he was 2 of 2 from 3, but you're not getting enough. If you're making 37% of your threes, you got to take more than 19, right? And this team overall now with KenPom, let's see. They're shooting 32% from 3 this year, 209 nationally. They're 52.1% from 2. I mean, free throw line, 75.9%. They're shooting 76% from free throw line. They were 11 of 12 in this game, but they only got 12 attempts. Ohio State has been fouling at a very high rate, and Rutgers could not take advantage. And that's the other maddening thing about Ace taking so many contested twos. This team taking so many contested twos. You had a team that fouls, that doesn't have a true rim defender in the game, and you didn't attack. You couldn't get to the rim. And if you can't get there off the bounce, you got to have ball reversals. You got to have ball reversals and attack off the edge, attack off the elbows. And this team lacked aggression. They lacked strategic thinking. They lacked leadership on the court. They lacked adjustments from the coaching staff. They lacked everything. And it's extremely disappointing. I think I've said enough. I know people want to go off the edge. People are questioning Pikiell's hit his ceiling as a coach. Listen, this team's not where they need to be. And if they play more like they did on Saturday, they're not going to be close to making the tournament. Last week, I thought it was very encouraging in how they played A&M and Alabama. They have to learn how to close. Today, they have to learn how to play in the Big Ten. And you got to bring everything. And it's not just about talent. It's about guts. It's about playing together. It's about playing for each other. And you didn't see that anywhere close on Saturday. Rutgers, 5-4, 3 losses in a row. They're back at it. Tuesday night against Penn State. I'll have a game preview, I guess, Monday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you so much for listening and watching once again here at the Scarlet Faithful podcast.